The South African Human Rights Commission is taking Sport, Arts and Culture Minister McKenzie to the Equality Court. That's because McKenzie failed to respond to a letter over previous social media posts where the K word was used. The Commission says the minister may have violated the law. It's also received several complaints against McKenzie, who denies any wrongdoing. Let's unpack the story further now. We're joined by the chairperson of the South African Human Rights Commission, Reverend Chris Nissen. It's great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. I suppose the question is, Chris, whether it matters that this is a case that happened some years ago between 2011 and 2017.
Yeah, but let me just acknowledge that, for the first time, we received correspondence late yesterday afternoon, in the evening, just before 8, from the minister's office in what he has told the public about his rebuttal to our allegations letter. The Commission views, any violation in a serious light. We have seen in the past where people have said many things in the past, and the Commission has the responsibility to any complaint that comes to us to pick it up. Mm-hmm. And in fairness to the minister, that's why the Commission sent an allegations letter to the minister, and then for the minister to state his case, which we've now received through the correspondence that we received late last night. I only got to know about it this morning because I was on monitoring in the farming area yesterday. Yes, the Commission must take up any complaint seriously, but must also give people a fair chance to explain to explain themselves, and also for us to take it further. But the fact of the matter is, any use of the K, H, or C word that we need to take up as a commissioner. We have got the responsibility to do so.
No, certainly. And, just on the face of it, Chris, the issue with Gayton McKenzie's lack of response, of course, you've now said that the response was received late last night. Does that now mean that the Commission is open to discussions with the minister, or is the Equality Court still the first port of call here?
Look, the minister's representatives acknowledged that they thought they sent it to us, and they give the explanation, which we accept, that it was a technical hitch that they could not, and they only discovered later on, and so we received it last night. Of course, the Commission must always be in a position to say, let us talk, let us find a solution between the two parties or the three parties, whoever the parties are and whatever the case is. And we've done that before. We've done it with the group of the Opencast podcast. We've done it. We met with them. Our Commissioner Mandlingosi, has been involved in a number of mediation cases. So yes, we would prefer that we resolve issues, but because of the lack of response, the commissioners decide that we must go to the Equality Court. But certainly today, we have received it last night. The commissioners will consider it today and see what is the best way forward, because we do believe mediation and corrective behavior is the best, instead of us spending time in court. But the commissioners decided that we will go to the Equality Court in the absence of a response. Now we've received that response, and I'll be engaging with the commissioner concerned, Commissioner Mandlingosi, to see what would be the next best way forward. But the commissioners have decided, so we need to go back to the commission to say there is now a response, and that is the response, and how do we take it further. But the commission always look at mediation, alternative dispute resolution, but in the final event is also the Equality Court, which is the Equality Court which is there established precisely to try and find resolutions to inter alia any hate speech that may have occurred, and it's alleged at this point in time.
Yeah, it seems like mediation must be the first port of call for the Commission, because I've got the statement here from the South African Human Rights Commission, and you've already mentioned the Open Chats podcast. There is, of course, the issue of the Sport, Arts and Culture Minister, McKenzie, but there's two other cases, at least, of one is a TikTok video in which a woman makes use also of the K word and also appears to coerce her domestic worker to do the same thing. There's also a viral video of a learner having used the K word during a sporting event. It's rife, isn't it, Reverend Nissen?
You know, we live in a world in South Africa where people think they can do and touch the dignity of other people or groups by doing the name calling. With regard to the learner, it is the Commission's view that, you know, when it comes to racism in schools, that we first of all get to the relevant education department and ask them to deal with it and give us a report on it, because, you know, we do view learners as very vulnerable, but at the same time, it's unacceptable. And the education departments must do more about teaching about social cohesion and anti-racism. We find it in the schools, if it's not hair, it's color, it's all of those kind of things amongst learners. And we need to create more through the social orientation program of the schools to inculcate into learners the issue about non-racialism, but also the issue about living together, better citizens, creating a better future citizens, and et cetera, and to make sure that all of us contribute to build social cohesion in our country.
Yeah.
On the other hand, with the employer calling the employee the K word, we are investigating that, and we are calling upon people who may or may not be aware of it to come and tell us, not only in that case, but also other cases, because we must stop this in our country. We must stop this, that we call people by the different racial terms, and we think we can get away with it. We must stop it, because it happens on a daily basis. Some of them come to us to complain, others are just keeping quiet. And keeping quiet when you're called that K, H, or C word, you are then perpetuating an understanding that it's the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. We come from a terrible past, and therefore we need to say, how do we help each other in this country in building social cohesion, and say that we are South Africans, we may have our differences, but we are South Africans, and we need to respect each other and not perpetuating the brutalization of any group that happened in the past.
Particularly when it comes to children of a school-going age, it is a huge ask, isn't it, to try and inculcate that in a school setting when perhaps the home setting is the complete opposite of that, Reverend Nissen. I want to just end off our conversation with this question. I mean, does the Human Rights Commission feel that we are making headway? I mean, we've got at least 4 cases here, and these are just the cases that the Human Rights Commission has chosen to update us on, all involving hate speech, all involving racial slurs. How do we know whether we are making progress? Also, how do we know that someone is genuinely remorseful? I suppose we can never know that, can we? And whether they are just paying lip service to an apology or an acknowledgement of hurt being caused.
Well, in the past cases that we've been dealing with, people have really, showed genuine concern, genuine remorse, and have even paid, to a community, have even gone into a community to work, have been exposed to another community, and has really made headway and progress. But you're correct, not always can we say whether people are genuine or not. But let me say, you're absolutely correct in the sense, things start at home, and children must be taught at home. And the second thing is, we think that sometimes around the bribe place, we can make jokes and all of those things, and the real issues are being discussed, and then we come out with all of those which seems to be jokes, but it's in fact racist jokes. And we must, as South African society, must say to one another, can we stop this? Can we respect one another? Can we talk to one another? And can we engage with each other as South Africans, irrespective of language, color, tradition, or culture? That we can be and say to each other, we are South Africans, we can differ, we can belong to different political parties, but can we respect each other and say, I'm a South African, you're South African, let's all work together to build a South Africa that can show the world the harmony and the ideals that people like myself and others went to prison for, that we fought for, and which our founding father, our leader, the late President Nelson Mandela, and all others, women and men that fought in this country to bring us where we are and continue to bring us, to take us further. But we cannot afford racism in this country, because racism leads to conflict, and it leads to where we will never be able to find each other. But it starts in the family, it starts with the religious institutions, and it starts at school, and it starts in the broader society. At the workplace, where we all can work together and say, we are South Africans, even if we differ in our thinking on a number of other issues, political and otherwise. But we cannot differ as human beings, because we need to respect each other as fellow South Africans.
Just basic humanity for one another. Reverend Chris Nissen is the chairperson of the South African Human Rights Commission. Thanks for joining us this morning.